administered to and governed by maritime law, and everything is a corporation. And so, because the reason why I want to go into this a little bit is because some of our audience might be thinking, well, how are they getting away with this? How are they able to force me or my child to be vaccinated? How can that possibly be? And so once you understand it's because they're dealing with you as a corporate entity versus a real flesh and blood human being, then hopefully for those who are not familiar with this concept, you'll begin to understand how it is they're able to do this.
When children are born, the parents sign something called a certificate of live birth, and they hand that over to the hospital that hands it over to the state. From that document, the birth certificate is created. However, this magic occurs, and that living flesh and blood, darling little baby named Jimmy Doe, all of a sudden becomes a corporate entity, a person, by the name of Jimmy Doe, all caps, Jimmy Doe, and that's on the birth certificate. So what they've done is they've created, because the parents signed that certificate of live birth, they've created this legal entity. It's called a legal person. And that is the entity that all their laws and statutes apply to, that legal person. That legal person is a fiction. It's not the living flesh and blood Jimmy Doe. It is that legal fiction. Now, once the government has that certificate of live birth and turns it into a birth certificate, they own that birth certificate because they created it. So they assume superior jurisdiction over that name. And I want people to understand this doctrine called Parens Patriae, P-A-R-E-N-S, P-A-T-R-I-A-E, and you can look it up. It's very real.
Well, Sophia and I did a show on that, so I'll put the link in the description box.
Yes, Parens Patriae, government as parent.
Yes.
But the lawyers keep pushing this as if, and I have a YouTube up on my website, parentsagainstmandatoryvaccines.net, where this lawyer is saying that parents get all their authority through the government. Now, that would shock us. You know, what do you mean? You're granting me authority to be a parent? What? You're going, what the heck is this? How could you be granting me authority to be a parent? They're claiming superior jurisdiction over our children. Now, they don't have superior jurisdiction over our children. They have superior jurisdiction over the birth certificate, which they created. The living flesh and blood Jimmy Doe was created by the biological matter of mom and dad. That Jimmy Doe was mom and dad's creation.
Right.
And people need to make that distinction. This corporation called government can't own a live flesh and blood Jimmy Doe. A corporation is a fiction. It cannot own a living being, but it can own that birth certificate and make rules that apply to the birth certificate. And because we don't know anything about this duplicitous system, we make the presumption that, oh, they have the right to tell me that I have to vaccinate my child, or they have the right to tell me I have to register my child for school,